It's a special playoff edition of Dolphins Today, a live episode coming at you. Fired up to be with you. There is no doubt about that. Welcome in, welcome one, welcome all. And look, I'm trying to bring the positivity here because as far as I'm concerned, the slate is wiped clean when the playoffs start. Everybody's 0-0, and it all starts now. Dolphins certainly didn't finish the regular season the way they wanted to, but lo and behold, it's time to turn over a new leaf and enter into that postseason with a fresh mindset, and that starts today with our live show. So I'm fired up to be with you. Who we got in the chat? Let me know. Shout out your city, where you're watching from, because, folks, we've got each other. When things don't go our way like they didn't on Sunday night, they didn't in Week 7 against Baltimore. I don't need to rehash the history. We've got to stick together because we've got each other, the Aqua and Orange. We're going on the road. We're road warriors. And, folks, I'm telling you what, it is our time to stick together and silence the haters as we embark upon this road matchup against Kansas City, where you've probably heard by now, it's supposed to be freezing at Arrowhead Stadium, but I think our Dolphins have some special stuff up their sleeve. But let me say hello to everybody in the chat. And oh my goodness, we already have a super chat. How about that, sports fans? Let me catch up. You guys are bringing the A game today. I love it. I love it. I can't even get the chat to slow down for a second. Oh, my goodness. Southwest, San Jose, California. Chad Jones, Virginia. That's an Aqua Club member right there. Basically the founder of the Aqua Club. Tyson Bryant in Lawrenceville. Saul Goodman. Cody from Lynn, Missouri. Good stuff there. And Zach, I see your super chat. We're going to get to it in just a moment. Drew Sarah is in South Carolina. Flag on the play. Prods is from Phillipsburg, Pennsylvania. King Shaveen Cedeno Shorts is from York, PA. Barry Gallmer, recognize that name, from Fort Lauderdale. Shout out to Barry. Victor's watching from the 305. How about that, sports fans? You love to see it. And let's get into that super chat. Zach Osinska, a $2 super chat. Thanks for supporting the show here at Dolphins Today. Let's do this, Fins. -2 degrees. Let's go, Miami. Yeah, look at it. We've got the full weather report, and it is going to be cold. I will summarize the report by that. It will be very, very cold, but that's part of our live show today. But we will get into some injury news as well as the weather report and plenty other good stuff on tap for you. But right now, you got to let me know in the comments who you got in this one. The Wild Card weekend, the Dolphins, the underdogs, on the road going to Kansas City. Let me know in the chat. Type D for Dolphins or C for Chiefs. And while you're letting me know, it's time for the much-anticipated moment of the show. Who do we got running the ones and twos but Jeremy Chugs? What's happening, Jeremy? Chugs. We love Jack Lauderay. He was in on Wednesday last week doing the watch parties as well. I'm not creating any producer rivalries today. That's not what I want to do. But Chugs, how the hell are you, man? Great to see you. It's always a pleasure.
Hey, here on Dolphins Today, loving it, loving life. Can you hear me? Can you hear me pretty good out there?
Can you hear me now? I can hear you in my ear.
Dolphins, can you hear me? Excited to be here on live today.
Is that a Frozen reference?
Maybe.
Oh,
maybe.
That's perfect for this weekend because it's going to be frozen in Kansas City.
A little bit of a Frozen reference for you today. I'm invited here on Dolphins Today. Not invited to my cousin's outings, but here on Dolphins Today, I'm always invited.
Yeah, let's go. It takes a special invite for that. This guy Chugs, man, I tell you what.
I'll tell you what, man. This Chugs guy is crazy, man.
My face is turning beet red because I'm laughing so hard. Woo, I already got to get some water, but man, it's great to be with everybody.
This Chugs guy, he is one of the wildest I've seen, man. I'll tell you that right now.
Actually, no doubt about it.
If you check my Twitter, I was actually breaking down news around your Miami Dolphins. earlier in the week. According to multiple reports, to get his team ready for this Saturday, Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel has rented out an ice cream freezer and having players see how long they can last. Wow.
That's some good stuff right there. I love it. That's incredible stuff right there. Is that true?
Huh?
I mean, you're breaking the news. It sounds like a good idea for the Dolphins for this week. There is no doubt about it.
There is no doubt about it whatsoever. You know what else there isn't a doubt about, Riepma?
What's that?
How great our sponsor is today.
Oh, my goodness. I'm getting hungry just thinking about them because today's show is made possible by America's #1 meal delivery service. That's right. It's Factor Meals. I told you about them once. I told you 1,000 times. Factor is America's #1 meal delivery service. And as we turn the calendar to the new year, I know everybody's getting started with their resolutions. Hopefully they're going well. But let me tell you this, Factor can help and help in the biggest ways so you're ready for the new year with Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery service that takes the stress out of meal planning, and it sets you up for success in the new year. So you skip the grocery store, skip the prep work, and all the cooking fatigue. I don't know about you, but cooking takes it out of me, and instead, you got to get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door from Factor. That's right. Let me say it again. Delivered right to your door. I told you about the Chipotle pork chop, but oh yeah, that roasted red pepper filet mignon. Lots of options with over 35 meals to choose from, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan, veggie, and so much more. Plus, Factor also has over 55 weekly add-ons, and you'll have a ton of nutritious, flavorful options to kickstart those resolutions and start making successful choices. So all you have to do is head to factormeals.com/FinsChat50 and use that code FinsChat50 for your 50% off. And I'm not even kidding you. It's not 10% off. It's not 20% off. It's 50% off. And because we love you and we care about you, we'll put that link right in the comments, the chat, and the description of today's video. So there's no excuses. It's easy. Factormeals.com/FinsChat50 for 50% off. Factor, America's #1 meal delivery service.
Easy, breezy, beautiful. It's Factor.
All right, let's be real for a second. Would you two guys quit clowning around? We got lots to get to.
Get off my lawn.
Why I oughta. All right, let me know. Be real with me. Confidence level in a Dolphins W. Scale it for me in the comments. 1 through 10. I want to see a lot of 10s in there because I am so confident in the Dolphins this weekend. They're going to shock the world. It's almost like they've been toying with their opponents the last couple of weeks, and they've just been waiting to.
They're possuming.
What does that mean?
They're playing dead.
Possuming. I see. I thought you said possoning, and I don't know what that means. All right, that's good stuff. Yeah. All right, we got a lot of people in the chat. Say hello to Drew Sarah, Vincent Walshman, Tim B. And we got 68 people watching right now, but only 23 likes. And that means the like police is coming out right now. Woo, woo, woo. It's the like police. Like the video or else you're under a like arrest. And we don't want that to happen. So like this video so we can reach other Dolphins fans and share the love because the aqua and orange knows no borders.
If you don't like the video, you're a terrorist.
Chugs. Also, if you don't like the video, you're a terrorist. Per Chugs. That's great stuff right there.
I will report you to the authorities.
There is no doubt about that. Chugs, let's tell them what we got coming up on today's show because there's a lot of injury news to get to. Stop you if you heard that one before. So we'll touch on that. And we're going to take a deep dive, Dolphin style, into the McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa. I don't want to call it crisis or problem, but I've seen a lot of negativity surrounding those two. And in fact, a couple of columnists saying Mike McDaniel should be on the hot seat. So we're going to investigate. We're going to look at the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between, and we're going to get out our red pen and just really evaluate some of the statements that are being made. on the Twitter sphere and the internet. And, of course, our Ask Anything mailbag. So get those questions ready. Use that hashtag Dolphins and get your question on the show. Chugs has some kind of magic formula over there on the producer side of things that he just takes those hashtags and just sticks them into the system, and somehow they pop up in front of me.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Whoa.
How does he do it? I don't believe what I just saw. All right. Mr. Riepma, quit yelling into the microphone on the internet.
What is this? Oh, wow.
Wow, how do you do that?
My thumb.
That's crazy.
It comes off my hand.
Let me see that again. I'm mesmerized. Oh my goodness. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it.
That's crazy.
Wow. We got nearly 100 people watching and only 34 likes. We've got one super chat on the board so far.
My dad taught me that.
That is cool.
Just kidding. I've never met my dad. All right, is anyone going to the game in Kansas City?
And my dad's not here, so he passed away. So look at that. Look at that. Yeah. Anyone going to the game in Kansas City? If so, bundle up.
Are you going with your dad?
I am not. He'll be watching from heaven, though. Let's hope.
My dad will be watching from a trailer park somewhere, maybe. We'll see.
They get DirecTV there? He's got Sunday NFL ticket?
I don't know. He's the mayor of Foxville. So.
No. Oh, my God.
Anyone going to the game? Yes or no? Let me know down in the comment section.
Dress warm if you are. Dress warm. We love you guys. We love you and we care about you.
Are you crying?
I am. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. Chugs, oh my gosh.
No from Tim B. No from Chad Jones.
Nobody's going to the games. That's all right. We're going to watch on Peacock. If you're not in the local area, you have to stream the game on Peacock, which is kind of a major bummer. But good news, we'll have our watch party, which is better than watching the game on Peacock. Or if you want to have it on the background, that's fine. But you got to join our watch party. You know, we always have a blast. I provide some play-by-play and analysis.
Do you also, let me know, type Peacock or no cock? Do you have Peacock? Let me know down in the comment section. Do you have the streaming service to watch the game?
I can't take this anymore. I want to see no.
Im says we got Game Pass. No cock though.
Oh my gosh! Wait, so if I had Sunday NFL ticket, and
Chad has Peacock.
Yeah.
Tim has Peacock.
I admit, I actually like Peacock. I think for, what is it, $4.99 a month, and you get a lot of good shows, some of the old shows, and you can watch a lot of good content. Very good for golf, too, if there's any golf fans in there. A couple of the PGA coverage will be on Peacock. Wow. All right, Saul Goodman says, hell yes, I'm going. Wild horses couldn't keep me away. Yeah, I love that. Good for Saul Goodman. Shout out, Saul. Peacock, Black Friday, $20 for a year. Yeah, that's a good deal. Legit, that's a good deal. That is a great deal.
Sanka.
That man. Yeah, man. This is incredible stuff. All right, we got 80 people watching. We might have lost somebody. We've kind of been taking some wild turns left and right.
It's been crazy.
It has. I started crying because Chugs just moved me to tears emotionally.
Ralph says cut the crap.
Oh,
all right, sorry, Ralph.
And then he said quit yelling. I'm sorry, Ralph. Ralph, we've had a hard day. We were commiserating over the lack of a father role in our lives. Oh,
it's classic Dolphins Today banter.
That was not on the show sheet, I promise you. It just happened organically.
You know what is on the show sheet? Y'all liking the damn video.
Yeah.
So let's get it popping. Like the video if you want us to continue. If not, we'll leave.
We got 84 people watching. Let's get it popping. Like the video. Like the video. It's totally worth it for one game. But actually it's not. Watch our Dolphins watch party instead. Don't get Peacock. Boo, Peacock. Boo, Peacock. Dolphins Today watch party.
I want to see nothing but no cocks down in the comments section.
That's right. Like the video. King Shaver Sedino Short says, don't cry, Jake. Sometimes it's good to be moved to tears. You guys remember Jimmy V? He said you should be moved to tears every single day.
If you haven't laughed, loved, and cried every single day, it wasn't a full day.
That's right. That's right. My grandmother, she's also dead, used to always say, make sure you laugh. Make sure you laugh. My one grandmother's still alive. She visited me not too long ago, over the holidays. It was great to see her.
My grandma, she's also dead.
I shouldn't have said it like that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All right, coming up on the program.
Yes. Just to remind you, we've got a full injury news update. We're going to take a deep dive on Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa, as well as a weather report. We'll sneak that in there. And an Ask Anything mailbag. Despite our silliness at the beginning of this show, we have been hard at work all week long prepping for this week. If you've missed any of the coverage on the channel, we had a couple of breaking news videos yesterday when the Dolphins made some roster moves and additions. We also had a full comprehensive preview of the game against the Chiefs, so make sure you check that out as well. And we'll continue to bring you daily Dolphins videos all week long leading up to Dolphins versus Chiefs. So make sure you subscribe to the channel because this channel continues to grow. I was running the numbers for the whole football season. Over 12,000 new subscribers for the football season. We feel great about
Congrats.
that. That's a testament to each and every one of you
I'll
out
let
there.
James know.
I was doing good and now you made me laugh again.
All right. We're cutting the crap. Daniel
right.
Fox, Ralph Miller, only straight business from here on out. Are you ready to start today's program?
Are you ready? We're up to 40. Can we get to 50 likes, though, before we start the program? Come on, 50 is a good number. We've got 65 people watching. Like the video. We got to get it up to 50. I'm going to take one big gulp of water. When I look back down at my screen, I want to see 50 likes on there.
All right, everybody left.
All right, let's like the video and let's get it started. Dolphins content, no fun. Here we go. Welcome into this edition of Dolphins Today. Fired up to be with you. My name is Jake Riepma, host of Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. And this just in, the Dolphins have been bitten by the injury bug. Just kidding. It's been a lingering problem all season long, and the injuries continue to pile up. So a lot of people in the Dolphins circle are worried about the injuries. And why wouldn't they be? Because every time an injury report comes out, it is lengthy, and this one is no exception. The initial injury report before the wild card matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs has a lot of big names on them, so buckle up. We're going to run through them. Teron Armstead, Deshaun Elliott, Javon Holland, Xavier Howard, Devon Achane, Liam Eichenberg, Tyreek Hill, Raheem Mostert, Jaylen Ramsey, and Jaylen Waddle. All were on the Dolphins' initial injury report, and even though the team is taking it a little bit easier as far as the practice load, there was a walkthrough instead of a full practice on Tuesday. There's a lot of notable injury names on there, so you got to let me know what injury worries you the most. And quite frankly, I don't think there's a wrong answer here, but let me know down in the comments the injury that you're most concerned about, because I've got mine. Glad you asked. The injury that I'm most worried about, and again, there's actually several, but what Joe Shad pointed out on Twitter last night caused me to lose a little bit of sleep. Tyreek Hill now has an ankle injury and quad injuries heading into his return to Kansas City. He's dealing with a couple of different injuries, and we know about the personal stuff he was dealing with last week with his house catching on fire and a lot of it being damaged. And if you watched Hard Knocks, you kind of saw the inside or behind-the-scenes footage of all of that, and it's a lot to weigh on an individual. So both physically and mentally, I am a little bit worried about Tyreek Hill, especially when you combine that with the fact that you could make the case he's the most important piece to this Dolphins team and Dolphins offense for sure. And everything weighing on the guy, I hope he's able to put his best foot forward in that wild card matchup against his former team, no less, the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, injuries are a part of the game, but it feels like this is getting a little ridiculous. And there's no time to cry over spilled milk. The injuries have happened. And again, it is a lengthy injury report. And this is on top of the guys that we already knew were injured that have been lost for the season. And I don't have to remind you, but guys like Bradley Chubb, Jaylen Phillips, Connor Williams, I mean, the list goes on. And these are the guys we're hoping to have for Saturday's game against the Kansas City Chiefs. So I need some positive news, and for that, I am turning to Jaylen Waddle. Quick update on him is he was a limited participant in practice earlier this week, so that tells me he is at least trending towards being able to play on Saturday against the Kansas City Chiefs. And remember, he injured that ankle late in the game against the Cowboys in Week 16 on Christmas Eve. It was classified as a high ankle sprain, and that can be tough. And there's really no exact timetable of your return from a high ankle sprain, but there is no doubt about it. Without Jaylen Waddle in the lineup, this offense looks completely different because you missed that complementary component to Tyreek Hill at the wide receiver 1 position. And as we mentioned, maybe Tyreek Hill also in question for Saturday's game. So that said, I am hoping Jaylen Waddle can play. Based on him being a limited participant, perhaps it's trending that way. The same can be said with Raheem Mostert, who's also missed the last 2 games. Raheem Mostert led the NFL in rushing touchdowns this season, had a tremendous season. Really could make the case for maybe a comeback player of the year for him or Tua Tagovailoa. But without him in the lineup, the Dolphins offense has really struggled, both against Baltimore and more recently against the Buffalo Bills. And that's not to take anything away from Achane and Jeff Wilson Jr. for that matter. In fact, I think they both played really, really well. But as a whole, the Dolphins offense is much more lethal with every single member of that explosive offense. And I know that's pointing out the obvious, but the Dolphins would certainly love to have Raheem Mostert back. Now, when Dolphins breaking news happens as it relates to injuries, or any breaking news for that matter, we've got you covered, and that is why you subscribe. We've gained over 12,000 subscribers throughout the course of football season, and that's a testament to each and every one of you, and it is our goal to continue to bring you the best content on YouTube for all your Miami Dolphins content needs. So hit that subscribe button, give it a trial. If you don't like the first week, feel free to unsubscribe, even though it would break my heart. Now, the Dolphins running back depth chart is as follows, with Raheem Mostert leading the way all season. It's looked really, really good. Achane has obviously fought his fair share of injuries as well, and Jeff Wilson Jr. kind of reinventing himself a little bit as RB3, but has been solid in the last couple of games in the absence of Raheem Mostert. But you'd love to see them at full strength for this playoff game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And with Achane, especially in the last couple of games, kind of receiving the bulk of carries, it was pretty impressive to look at his final 2023 season stats as a whole and see that he's the first player in NFL history to average over 6 yards a carry, 6.5 yards per carry with over 100 carries. No player in NFL history had ever averaged that amount of yards per carry with at least 100 carries. That's a shout out to Achane and the offensive line for that matter. But looking at the body of work as a whole, over 100 carries, 800 yards, 7.8 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns. He had a touchdown against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football. And I don't think I'm alone in kind of looking back at that tape thinking and hoping, why didn't Mike McDaniel utilize him a little bit more? So hopefully in the cold conditions in Kansas City, both him and Raheem Mostert will be able to carry the load. Because anytime you average 7.8 yards per carry, and that is impressive. It's the best rushing average in NFL history and, of course, in Dolphins franchise history as well. So Achane, I'm hoping he can have a breakout game against the Kansas City Chiefs. No doubt about it. I think it would be great for the Dolphins to feed Achane because he can be an X factor in this game. So feed him, feed him, feed him. Don't go away from it like the Dolphins did in that second half against the Buffalo Bills. You got to keep feeding Achane. So I ask you, what is your confidence level in the Dolphins offense? I want you to scale it for me in the comments, 1 through 10. If you believe they'll turn it around and kind of return to that prominent offense that they were early in the season, where they were on pace to set several NFL records? Let me know. Or if you're not so confident and you think that offense that had just 17 plays in the second half on 5 possessions that punted just about every time unless it was a turnover, go ahead and type 1 in the comments. But either way, let me know. Now, coming up, we've got more injury news to get to because I warned you, it is a long injury report. And with that, we're also going to dissect who could step up for the Miami Dolphins. But right now, I want to give a huge shout out to today's presenting sponsor and a sincere thank you for helping make Dolphins Today possible. That's Factor, and Factor is America's #1 meal delivery service. And as we turn the calendar into 2024, everybody's getting started with their resolutions, and Factor's here to help. And more importantly than a resolution is the assistance in making choices that lead to success. Successful choices. And that's where Factors comes in with their ready-to-eat meal delivery service that takes the stress out of meal planning. It sets you up for success in the new year so that you can skip the grocery store, skip the prep work, the cooking fatigue, all those things that take up your time, energy, and effort. Factor says wave goodbye because instead you're going to get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door with over 35 meals to choose from per week. And that includes options like keto, calorie smart, vegan, veggie, and more. And oh yeah, don't forget about over 55 weekly add-ons. So you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. But listen up when I tell you this. The delivery right to your door, you can't beat. You open up the door, your meals are there, it takes 2 minutes to heat up, and then you throw away the mess. It literally is the easiest thing, and that helps you eat healthy and nutritious options. So all you got to do is go to factormeals.com/FinsChat50. It's factormeals.com/FinsChat50. Use that promo code FinsChat50 to get 50% off. And because we love you and we care about you, that link's going right into the comments of today's video. So all you have to do is click on the link and it takes you right there, and you're on your way to making successful choices in 2024 with factormeals.com/FinsChat50. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but at the same time, it's worth pointing out. It feels like everyone is injured for the Miami Dolphins, but there's no excuses. If you watch Hard Knocks, Mike McDaniel and his staff certainly alluded to the fact that you got to have a next man up mentality. And specifically with the Dolphins defensive end room, defensive line room, edge rusher, outside linebacker, however you want to phrase it, that includes guys like Melvin Ingram, Emmanuel Ogbah, Justin Houston, and Bruce Irvin, the latter two who are brand new to the Miami Dolphins because of the lingering injuries that continue to plague the Dolphins' edge rushers, starting with Jaylen Phillips on Black Friday, Bradley Chubb in the Week 17 game against the Baltimore Ravens, and then on Sunday Night Football, Andrew Van Ginkel, which is such a shame because all three of those guys were having such great seasons and meant so much to the Dolphins. So to add much-needed depth and to essentially replace the injured players, the Dolphins went out and signed Justin Houston as well as Bruce Irvin. So both those guys, in addition to Melvin Ingram, will be called upon to step up. And I think Melvin Ingram did a great job Sunday Night Football. In fact, he played 58 snaps versus the Bills in that Week 18 game, which was the most snaps he had played since all the way back in 2022 and Week 3 of 2022, no less. So Melvin Ingram going to be called to step up, as will some of the new Dolphins in Bruce Irvin and Justin Houston. Now, with that said, I think playing against a team like the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes is going to require everyone to be all in and put your best foot forward. So Bruce Irvin, new to the squad, welcome. Not a lot of production in 2023. Did play 2 games for the Detroit Lions, and one of them was that December 30th game against the Dallas Cowboys. So it's not like the rust has set in too much there, but he registered a sack and was helping the Lions a little bit, but they parted ways, and so for the Miami Dolphins, it made a lot of sense to bring him in. But when you look at his body of work over the course of his career, that's a guy that has proven himself. He made his mark with Seattle when they won that Super Bowl under former coach Pete Carroll, bye-bye Pete Carroll, but registered over 56.5 sacks over the course of his career. And again, It's a body to fill a much-needed spot on the field at the edge rusher. And the same can be said with Justin Houston. And he started the season with the Carolina Panthers and now is playing for the Miami Dolphins after they signed him earlier this week, I should say, for that exact reason. The edge rushers dropping like flies. And I hate to use the term desperate, but desperate times with all the injuries calls for desperate measures. And Justin Houston with a great opportunity to prove he's still got it, even though he's a little long in the tooth. But another guy with a decorated career that spans over 170 games with over 100 sacks and 185 hits on the quarterback. So it's not complicated at this point. It becomes about getting able bodies in at the edge rusher position to beat the man in front of you and get pressure and ultimately sack the opposing quarterback, which is an area of the Dolphins defense they've been really, really good at this year. They're third in the NFL with 56 total sacks. But again, as we've said time and time again, when you start the postseason, every slate is wiped clean, and it doesn't matter that the Dolphins had 56 sacks which was third in the National Football League. All that matters is that they're able to get to Patrick Mahomes. And in addition to the edge rushers, you got to give a lot of credit to the Dolphins' interior defensive line. Zach Sealer, Christian Wilkins, the salt and pepper combo. Raekwon Davis also contributing at the nose tackle position, but primarily Zach Sealer and Christian Wilkins have been spectacular this season. You look at Zach Sealer's stats, and you might think you're looking at an edge rusher with 10 sacks, 22 quarterback hits, 11 tackles for loss, but no, that production's coming from the defensive tackle position, and in fact, this was finalized after the Week 18 game against the Bills, but 10-plus sacks for Zach Sealer. Oh, yeah, that is a franchise record for a defensive tackle for the Miami Dolphins. So it feels like I use the term franchise record repeatedly with this 2023 Dolphins team because they continue to reach new heights on both sides of the ball. But tremendous season by Zach Sealer, and he will be called upon to have a major role in that game on the Wild Card weekend on Saturday against the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think he can step up, but what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Who's somebody on the defensive side of the ball that steps up for the Miami Dolphins on Saturday? Because based on all the injuries, it could be an unexpected name. So shout them out in the comments. Who's somebody under the radar, or maybe not under the radar? Maybe it's Jaylen Ramsey. Look, Ramsey burst onto the scene with 2 picks in his first game, but admittedly, he's kind of been relatively quiet the last couple of games. So who's stepping up for Miami? Let me know. Who's stepping up on the defensive side? Let me know in the comments. And for all your Dolphins content, follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma. Every now and then, Chugs and I are tweeting about the Dolphins like we were today. And I appreciate any and all follows on the Twitter for all your latest Dolphins news. All right, Chugs, how we feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great.
I love that. Oh, man. Oh, man, that's great.
How are you feeling?
Not good.
Oh, yeah?
I'll be okay. All right, who steps up for the Dolphins?
Yeah, I can take over for a sec if you need.
It won't be a sec.
A minute?
It'll be more than that. I want to say hello to some people in the chat.
I can hold it down for a little bit if you need.
No. Let's push through.
Okay. Zach. Let's go.
Yeah,
Love
Zach.
this show.
All right, Zach loves us. There was somebody that didn't love this show.
Love to see it.
We appreciate you. We need more Zachs in the world.
That's a fact, Zach.
I love it. The Zach Attack.
And I've already seen people asking questions in the chat. Don't be afraid to use that hashtag Dolphins. Get on the show. Or you can super chat just like Zach did. Get any question. We're going to have a mailbag coming up for you. A Dolphins Today mailbag. So ask any questions that you have around your Miami Dolphins.
I love it. I love Sherry May. She's the realest of the real. No kneeling over on Dolphins Today, Jake. Sherry May, if you knew what I was going through right now, you would understand. I love you, though. I love you. I love Chad Jones. I love Tim B. I love everybody.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, I'm sure. I think it's reached the point where it kind of goes away for hopefully an extended amount of time. It's definitely going to come back.
Yeah.
But let's just hope.
Damn Piata.
Yeah. Piata, number 1 on my power rankings, but wow. Whew. All right, Daniel. Sealer got a new contract before the season started. Yes. Christian Wilkins has not been paid yet. Zach Sealer has. And
Facts.
Christian Wilkins, there's so many Dolphins guys that need to be paid.
Yeah.
We'll do that show. I think it's more of an off-season show. So hopefully after the Super Bowl, that's when the Dolphins off-season begins. See what I did there? But we are going to do that show of pending free agents and who needs to be paid.
Also, we have another segment before we get to our mailbag as well. We're going to be talking about a little bit of Mike McDaniel Tua slander.
Yeah, I'm sick of it, frankly. Because the numbers that we have prepared for you, which we'll show you, prove a different story. But then again, everyone can
we'll see.
Think for themselves. I'm not here to tell you how to feel.
And Chad, you're close.
Wait, what did they say? Oh, yeah. No, I'm okay. I'm gonna be okay, guys.
Right region.
Yes, I love Dolphins Today, and I love the aqua and orange. And
$50, you do it right here on live.
Nope, that would be bad. It'd be a good headline. Dolphins Today host Jake Riepma ends his career. Oh, man.
Oh, all right. Let's get 4 more likes. We're 4 likes away from 60, and then we'll get into this next segment. The faster we do this, the faster Riepma can go to the porcelain gods. So 4 more likes, and we'll start our next segment. We're 4 likes away.
We're 4 likes away. Come on, people.
Holy shit. Literally.
Yeah. No, I love you guys.
Oh,
all right.
Riepma, you are one of a kind.
I've been told that before. I'll close 2 more likes. Come on.
2 more likes. What if we don't get them for the next 30 minutes? We're just sitting here. Oh, there we go.
Sitting in silence. All right, let me make sure I got everything pulled up on both sides of the thing here. All right. We're taking a deep dive on Tua Tagovailoa and Mike McDaniel. Welcome into this edition of Dolphins Today. Fired up to be with you. I'm your host, Jake Riepma. But not fired up with tweets like this from Chris Perkins, of one of the Dolphins insiders and a columnist in Florida, saying if the Dolphins lose Saturday, Mike McDaniel will certainly be on the hot seat. Well, Chris, I think you can hear it in my voice, but I unequivocally disagree with you. Wholeheartedly disagree with you. But you know what? You tweeted it out there, so let's break it down. And first I ask you, what do you think? Do you think Mike McDaniel is on the hot seat? Let me know in the comments. Type Y for yes if his seat is hot, or type N for no, because I think you hear it in my voice, but it's a resounding no for me. But let's break it down a step further. Mike McDaniel, year number 2, back-to-back playoff appearances for the Miami Dolphins, 20-14 overall, and this season in 2023, yes, I know we've turned the calendar into 2024. It didn't end the way you wanted, of course not, but 11 wins on the season, and that was tied for the second most wins in the AFC. Back-to-back playoff appearances, as I mentioned. And some accomplishments this past season: the number 1 total offense, the league leader in passing yards, that was Tua Tagovailoa, league leader in receiving yards, take one guess, Tyreek Hill, and the league leader in rushing touchdowns, Raheem Mostert. So something is working for Mike McDaniel, but here's what some of the naysayers might want to add, that down the course of the final stretch of the season, all in the Dolphins' vision were the number 1 seed, a division title, and a rare playoff home game, and the Dolphins, unfortunately, failed to capture any of those. So I'm going to give you both sides of the coin. Yes, there's some negative sides with Mike McDaniel, but there's also a lot of accomplishments as we break down whether or not Mike McDaniel in year number 2 deserves to be on the hot seat. And again, I really don't think so, but here's more fuel to the fire, if you will, for the naysayers. 4-8 games played in December or January. So the Dolphins have struggled down the stretch of the season, lost his only playoff game. That was without Tua Tagovailoa and on the road against Buffalo. And in the final 3 games of the calendar season in the National Football League in 2023, the Dolphins led the AFC East by 3 games, but failed to win a division title. In fact, they choked it away. And so I get it. I get it. The Dolphins have not performed particularly well in clutch situations under Mike McDaniel. But let's take the entire body of work. And if you do that, I think you'd reasonably get to the conclusion that this is ridiculous. Mike McDaniel is not on the hot seat. His seat isn't even remotely hot. In fact, it's going to be, his seat, you could say, is as cold as what the seats at Arrowhead Stadium will be on Saturday. It's going to be freezing on Saturday. And this conversation from the talking heads that follow or cover the Miami Dolphins suggesting that he's on the hot seat, quite frankly, I just disagree in a lot of ways, because I think the body of work speaks for itself with Mike McDaniel and the success that this Dolphins team has had in 2 years. Now, is there room for improvement? Of course. But I want to know from you, what's your confidence level? Mike McDaniel will be back next season. I think you can hear it in my voice. It's a 10 for me, but if you're one of the naysayers, let me know in the comments. Confidence level, Mike McDaniel will be back coaching the Miami Dolphins next season. Now, probably the most telling component of the Mike McDaniel slander, and I guess you could say he's earned this, he's 1-5 this season versus teams with winning records. Not good. Not good. The narrative is out there that this Dolphins team can't beat a winning team. And we get that, because I think Mike McDaniel even alluded to it himself with this quote, that narratives exist for a reason. And McDaniel went on to say that time and time again, I get out in front of narratives because you know that they're going to exist because it's reactionary. So if you lose to 2 good teams down the stretch, you leave yourself vulnerable for people to say that you can't beat good teams, which will be the case until you do. So I think the fact that he acknowledges why the narratives are out there is a step in the right direction. But in 2 years, to get back-to-back playoff appearances, 20 wins in 2 years, and have the Dolphins in this position with a lot in front of them, I think it'd be crazy to completely change courses and go away from Mike McDaniel. But I'm not telling you how to feel. I'm just curious what your opinion is, so let me know. Coming up, we'll take a deep dive on Tua Tagovailoa, just like we did with the deep dive on Mike McDaniel, plus a little weather report for you, because it is going to be cold in Kansas City. There is no doubt about it. But first, I want to welcome on a new sponsor, and that is Mando, the Mando Starter Pack. I'm telling you, folks, you do not want to miss out. Because whether your New Year's resolution is hitting the gym or better hygiene or simply vowing to keep things cool and fresh below the belt, Mando Whole Body Deodorant has got your back, or should I say your front. Because, look, it's the turn of the calendar. It's the new year. We're all letting everybody know about our resolutions. You're putting them on Instagram, this, that, and the other. But how about this one? It's the best New Year's resolution you could have. New year, new me. No. New year, no stink. That's the best resolution you could have. There is no doubt about it. And that's where Mando comes in. So if you suffer from stinky feet, stinky pits, or even stinky packages, Mando is doctor-developed and clinically proven to block odor all day and control it for up to 72 hours so you can be bulletproof with 72-hour odor control. You deserve to make the turn in 2024. So say goodbye to last year's stink and upgrade to a whole new level of personal care with Mando Whole Body Deodorant. Your pits and balls deserve the best for 2024. And I tried out the bourbon leather. Let me tell you, the bourbon leather, I was smelling good for up to 72 hours. My girlfriend Sydney loved it. I got one of the, you smell better than normal. What's the secret? And I was like, Mando, there you go. But let me tell you, I have a discount code for you to help you get you hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. So listen up and listen good. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code CHAT, and that equates to over 40% off your starter pack. So use that code CHAT at shopmando.com. One more time, that's shopmando.com, shopmando.com. And even though I started a little bit there, we love you and we care about you, so we'll put that link right in the chat and the description of today's video. So all you have to do is click on that code and go to shopmando.com and use that promo code CHAT for $5 off your starter pack. And a little pro tip for you, the bourbon leather, that's the one you want to get. Colin Cowherd needs Mando. He stinks. That's it. That's the end. No, seriously, Colin Cowherd sounding off negatively about Tua Tagovailoa. We're going to take a deep dive into everything that represents Tua Tagovailoa. He said earlier on his show, the overwhelming talent and natural ability of Josh Allen were on display. This is, of course, following the Sunday night game. And Tua's clear limitations were, referring to the fact that he felt like Tua's limitations were on display against the Buffalo Bills for Tua Tagovailoa. And he wasn't the only one that was speaking slander on Tua Tagovailoa. This is from Nick Wright of FS1. This is the part nobody wants to hear. This is why Tua being in the MVP discussion at any point was ludicrous. This is why his own team, multiple times throughout his career, has tried to move off him, which is frankly not true. This is why they are not going to pay him this offseason. That remains to be seen. But for Nick Wright and Colin Cowherd and everybody else, I encourage you to read a book. I encourage you to look at some statistics. I encourage you to watch the Dolphins and tell me if you still feel that way, because I believe the Tua slander needs to stop. Is he Joe Montana? Is he Tom Brady? Is he Aaron Rodgers? No. Is he a upper echelon quarterback in this league that has proven at times can be playing at an elite level? Absolutely. Check out Tua Tagovailoa in 2023, the season we just completed. I know we're in 2024 now, but led the NFL with over 4,600 passing yards. That's the most in the NFL, and he's the first player to lead the NFL in passing yards since Dan Marino did it back in 1992. That's the other side of the coin with all of this. If you don't think Tua is the greatest thing since sliced bread, I'm not trying to tell you how to feel. But as far as the Dolphins' list of franchise quarterbacks go, he's accomplishing things Dan Marino didn't accomplish. And he's widely regarded, and I mean, there is no doubt about it, as the best quarterback in Dolphins franchise history. More on Tua in 2023. Completion percentage. So you say, yeah, he's got a lot of yards, but how often was he accurate and on time? How about 69.3% of the time, which is the best in Dolphins history? Again, don't want to yell, but I think it's worth pointing out the fact that Tua's numbers really do tell a big story. And I know there's more to playing the game than what shows up on an Excel spreadsheet, and you got to make plays in clutch moments, and he didn't do that on Sunday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills. I agree. I hear all that. But let's try to think with a broader scope and not be so reactionary in the last couple of games against the Ravens and the Bills, but rather the whole body of work. Does he need to prove himself in clutch situations? Absolutely. But most passing yards in the NFL, best completion percentage in the NFL, and maybe you think, oh, he's just throwing short passes then. No, 8.3 yards per attempt. That's the second most in the NFL of any quarterback with at least 400 attempts. Only Brock Purdy had a better yards per attempt number, just over 9. And so several different key metrics to overwhelmingly is among the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. And oh, by the way, the starter in the Pro Bowl for the AFC. That said, try to take my Dolphins goggles off for a second. And I want to know, because I've read the comments, and again, they're very reactionary after a bad game. A lot of people don't believe in Tua. A lot of people want this franchise to move on from Tua. Maybe I am blinded. I look at the numbers. I've watched every game repeatedly. I go back and watch them again. Watch the all 22. You name it. I believe in Tua, but I want to know from you. Let me know in the comments. And again, This is Jake Riepma talking. Think for yourself. Do you believe in Tua? Type B for believe or D for doubt. Let me know in the comments. Now, the weather conditions in Kansas City, we make a drastic turn because they've been on everybody's mind, and rightfully so, because this game could be the coldest game in NFL history. The weather report continues to change a little bit, but the latest one I saw, 10 degrees, -8 wind chill, could get down even below zero, even without the wind chill. Winds gusts up to 29 miles per hour, slight chance of snow. Great, good, grand, wonderful. And there is no secret that the Dolphins haven't exactly performed well in cold weather. And this little graphic from Bleacher Report just made me feel cold. 0 degrees, low of -9, expected temperatures for Dolphins and Chiefs. And you got to love Arrowhead putting this photo out because, again, it just makes my bones chilly as we even look at this photo. Look at the snow at Arrowhead Stadium. That's where the Dolphins are going to be playing on Saturday against the Kansas City Chiefs. A frozen field, frozen bleachers. How can they cope with it? It hasn't really gone well for the Dolphins in the last 10 games in cold weather. In fact, 0-10 in games that were played outside with temperatures under 40 degrees. So I hope maybe this is a time to change the tide, change the narrative, and along with squashing the narrative that Mike McDaniel can't win big games and Tua can't make plays in clutch moments, maybe the Dolphins can go ahead and squash the narrative that they can't perform well in cold weather. And as he always does, Mike McDaniel having a sense of humor about things. I laughed out loud at this quote when asked about preparing for the elements. Mike McDaniel said, well, the AC at the Dolphins indoor practice facility in Miami gets down to about 50 degrees. And added that's kind of insulting to the weather over there. So chilly, 50 degrees in the air-conditioned building. Not sure that's going to prepare the Dolphins too well for that. But Raheem Morris is excited about playing in the snow, and that also bodes well for his injury report as well. But he's hoping for snow in Kansas City. Says it's good weather for running the football. Mostert says of -5 to -15 wind chills. So that said, Raheem Mostert's ready for the cold weather, and maybe a little bit of history. We got to go all the way back to find some good news. But the coldest game in Dolphins history was back in 2008 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Dolphins won 38-31 in a 10 degrees game. You fast forward to 2024, wild card game in Kansas City, 0 degrees at kickoff. Let's hope history repeats itself. Absolutely. There is no doubt about that. And, oh yeah, one more weather report for you from our very own Jeremy Chuggs. According to multiple reports to get his team ready for Saturday's Dolphins head coach, Mike McDaniel has rented out an ice cream freezer, having players see how long they can last. So there you go. The Dolphins are hanging out in an ice cream freezer. And that's from our very own Jeremy Chuggs. And take that for what you will. Follow him on Twitter. I think this one sums it up best. Who hasn't seen Cool Runnings? What a great movie. But this is how the Dolphins are getting ready for their game against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be cold, but again, recent history, not so recent history, I should say. The Dolphins' coldest game ever was in 2008, and they won that game. So everybody send in those flame emojis in the chat, because we need some warm vibes. Send it to the Dolphins. Type those fire emojis, and let's hope the Dolphins can perform well in the not-so-favorable elements that are projected for the game against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Woo, woo! Breaking news, Riepma, breaking
news!
Nick Saban has retired.
Whoa!
Alabama head coach Nick Saban has retired from the Alabama football program. Just coming in while we were finishing that segment.
My.
Nick Saban gone in Tuscaloosa.
Oh,
Could
my.
he be heading to the NFL?
Oh, my. I was wondering why my phone wouldn't stop blowing up.
Nick Saban.
That's crazy.
Gone.
Oh, my gosh. That is wild. What?
Let me know your one-word reaction.
Jim Harbaugh broke Nick Saban.
Your one-word reaction to Nick Saban leaving Alabama. Let me know down in the comment section. Return to Miami?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I wonder if he was ready to retire. I felt like he was the guy that was going to coach until he was, not to be too morbid, but dead.
Saban to the Raiders?
Wow.
Saban to the Titans? Saban can't be done, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, how old is he?
70s. Pete Carroll got fired today. Yeah, I know Saban's not everybody's favorite in Miami. Wow.
I mean, just wow. Apparently, Alabama, I mean, for the first time in 20-some-odd years, Alabama going to be looking for a head coach. Could a coach from the NFL go to Alabama?
Yeah.
According to multiple sources, Britt McMurphy's reporting that Dan Lanning from Oregon is expected to be the top target for Alabama.
Alabama. Interesting. Dan Lanning was on the halftime set during the College Football National Championship. I thought that was an odd move because remember Dan Lanning's big speech before they played Colorado, led by Deion Sanders? He said, they're in it for clicks and we're in it for substance.
According to Pete Thamel, here's his target list. He's well connected around college football. His target list for possible replacements: Dan Lanning, Kalen DeBoer,
Oh, yeah.
Dabo Sweeney,
Dabo's not leaving Clemson.
James Franklin, Mike Norvell, Marcus Freeman.
That's McMurphy's list?
Yeah.
The only one I really could see is, I guess, two, Lanning and DeBoer. James Franklin would be such a downgrade. That guy stinks. That guy's a snake oil salesman.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
I think James Franklin has held Penn State back for a decade.
Jim Harbaugh?
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow. This is wild. Breaking news.
Could they go after Kirby Smart?
Yeah, Kirby Smart makes sense, but, I mean, he's a Georgia alum. Kirby Smart to the Falcons also makes sense. I think the Harbaugh one just kind of tickled my fancy a little bit there. That'd be intriguing.
Oh,
how about Lane Kiffin?
Yeah.
Although Saban would probably veto that one. I know I'm getting out of here and retiring, but I don't want...
let me know your questions. # Dolphins or Super Chat to get on the show. We did get a $20 Super Chat from Gerald Stokes.
What a guy. He's on our Dolphins Hall of Fame board time and time again. He's a realist of the real type and is always supporting Dolphins Today. Shout out to you, Gerald. We appreciate that. But, yeah... I agree with everything he's saying, too. That's another reason why I love Gerald. Who doesn't love people that agree with
I
him?
always wondered, there's got to be a day where Alabama isn't good.
Hold on, we get back. I want to read this. We'll get back to that.
Okay,
Tua equals comeback player of the year. I completely agree with that. He needs to be better, but beat the Chiefs and the noise goes away. Completely agree. The opportunity's in front of him. McDaniel talked about it on Hard Knocks, that adversity is simply an opportunity. The Dolphins have obviously faced their fair share of adversity, and I will go down as a Tua defender, I promise you. But that last interception he threw against the Bills, no disrespect to Chase Claypool, but that guy stinks and ran the wrong route by 12 yards. You look at Tua releasing the ball because, as they often say in the biz, he's throwing him open because Claypool can't create any separation on his own. And if he runs the route correctly, the ball's not underthrown by 6 yards. Chase Claypool stunk in that game against the Bills. And, again, it sounds like I'm piling on, but everybody say, oh, what is Tua doing on that last interception? Well, Chase Claypool ran the wrong route by 12 yards.
Chad says Saban is 72. He's going home.
Yeah, I think Chad's right.
He's going to the big oatmeal cream pie in the sky.
No, I can't do a Saban impersonation, but he's always like, Miss Terry in the boat. I'm going to go on the boat with Miss Terry. He loves that boat with Miss Terry. That's his wife.
All right. Use # Dolphins or Super Chat to get your questions on the show.
It ain't happened, so quit asking, all right?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Wild day.
Sherry May says, good. Rest well, old man. He's not dying, Sherry.
Is the man.
I love Sherry. She's so right, though. I think, what else does Saban have to prove? And here's a hot take. I don't blame the guy.
I don't blame him.
Listen, and it's going to sound like old guy get off my lawn, and I'm going to get out in front of all this, but I believe everything I'm saying, and I'm about to tell you. College athletics has turned into a circus, and becoming the head football coach of a team does not mean coaching X's and O's. It means becoming the CEO of an organization where you have to cater to these young men's ego in the form of NIL, name, image, and likeness. You have to pay the players now, and true football guys hate it. Look at Jim Harbaugh. Look at now Nick Saban. Dabo Swinney talked about it. I think the transfer portal and NIL is going to cause coaches.
The transfer portal is the worst thing to happen to college football, the new rules in it, because alma mater, North Texas Mean Green, shout out to the American.
Yes.
But any non-Power 5 school,
oh yeah, you have no shot.
You'll never be able to contend whatsoever. For the past 4 seasons, as soon as a player has a good year,
yeah, they're gone.
From North Texas, they are gone.
I'll take a step further. The bottom, not even bottom feeders, but Power 5 schools that could maybe put it all together and mount a good year here and there. Maybe Missouri's a good example of a team this year. That's a team in the Power 5, but any of their players that they see the grass being greener on the other side, they're leaving. And I'm not anti-transfer because there are times when transferring makes sense. I think Michael Penix Jr. is a good example of that. He hit the ceiling at Indiana. They were relevant. They had I believe it was an 8 or 9 win season, but Indiana's never going to beat Ohio State and they're never going to beat Michigan. He transferred to Washington, got his team to a national championship. But that was also after injuries and that sort of things. Transferring exists for a reason, but you can't enable transferring to not have any type of restrictions or any type of, I don't want to say punishments, but it used to be you had to sit out a semester. There was a opportunity cost, and there was a calculated decision with transferring. Now, if you're not happy, just leave. And I think that has and will continue to set a dangerous precedent. And a lot of what people also don't want to talk about is the fact that 48% of transfers don't actually land somewhere. So you hear the good stories, but 48% of these guys don't actually land anywhere, and then they're out of college athletics. And again, it sets a dangerous precedent, and I think Saban just got sick of dealing with all the BS.
I could see it, because it's like, you look at his team this year, this might have been one of his best coaching jobs to date.
Yes, very good point. He didn't have the loaded roster that he had in years past, and they're still a playoff team. I also think there's something to be said with being, again, I keep using the term CEO, but you're not really coaching as much anymore. You're recruiting, yes, that's always been a part of it, but pampering these perceived 5-star athletes. And Deion Sanders, no disrespect, he's a great player and made Colorado relevant, but the sunglasses and the flashy NIL stuff and the showing up on reality shows and going on, all that is so anti-football guy. And I think Nick Saban's just a football guy and just got sick of, or at least I should say, the current climate of college football accelerated his path to retiring.
I think you're onto something.
Thank you. All right. How's everybody doing in the chat? Sorry, I went off on a tangent there. Are we losing people? We got one more segment to do though. We got a mailbag coming up.
We have about 13 people watching right now, so we'll keep it rolling.
Wait, 13?
No, we have more than that. All right, let's get into this mailbag. Hashtag Dolphins if you want to get on the show, and let's get it popping. You ready to go, Reapy?
Yeah.
You gotta reap the benefits of going live. Oh, all right. After this, Reeps, he's killing the toilet.
Welcome into this edition of an Ask Anything Mailbag, my favorite segment to do because nothing's off the limits, and any question that you have, get involved, use that hashtag Dolphins, and we will answer your questions. Super chat to jump the line. And let's kick it off with the one and only Gerald Stokes, a $20 super chat. And as we talked about time and time again, I completely agree with Gerald. That guy is one smart dude. 2 equals comeback player of the year. Yeah, he needs to be better, but beat the Chiefs and the noise goes away. I couldn't agree more. Adversity is an opportunity, and the Dolphins have faced their fair share of adversity. Some of it self-inflicted. The injuries not really in their control, but you stack it all up, and it's a lot of adversity that the Dolphins have faced. And because of that, it's an opportunity to silence the haters with a win against the Kansas City Chiefs on Wild Card weekend on the road, no less. So completely agree, Gerald. Let's see Tua and the rest of the Dolphins go out and do it. Chad Jones. All right, Chad Jones. There's none like him. Basically the founder of the Aqua Club legend. Chad Jones asked, do you think that coaches in college will leave even more now that players can opt out of bowl games? Chad, absolutely. I think if I had a 10-point PowerPoint slide, that would be on there. The transfer portal would be on there. NIL would be on there. The entire landscape of college athletics. And, of course, this coming on the heels of all of the college coaching news, most recently with Nick Saban announcing his retirement. But all kinds of things are contributing to the turnover. And there's always been turnover in college football and college athletics. That's nothing new there. But you're seeing legendary coaches not want to be a part of really the circus that college football has become. The bowl games are part of it, and now with college football turning to a 12-team playoff, I think that will be good for the sport ultimately, but until the transfer portal rules are restructured and I shouldn't say until because I don't think NIL is going anywhere, but all of those components mean college coaches are no longer coaches, they're CEOs, and they have to find a way to manage the egos of these incoming student athletes and these incoming transfers and five-star recruits and this, that, and the other. And there's less and less time devoted to coaching, which 99% of coaches enjoy that part of the job. So, yes, I completely agree. With Ross loving Jim Harbaugh, do you think he might make a move at coach or GM? Very good question. So Stephen Ross, owner of the Miami Dolphins, also founder of the Ross Business School at the University of Michigan, does have connections with Jim Harbaugh, but I don't think Mike McDaniel is going anywhere, and I don't see Jim Harbaugh leaving Michigan unless it's for a prominent head coaching job, of which there are several available in the National Football League, Miami not being one of them. Now, Chris Grier at general manager, depending on who you ask, I think he's done a very good job. There's a lot of question marks into the offseason, such as players that need to be extended, as well as the salary cap deficit, which is a problem. The Dolphins have the second lowest cap space, so not great there, but that's why Chris Grier gets paid the big bucks, and so we'll see if he can earn his keep here in the offseason. But there are certainly important pending decisions to be made in the Miami Dolphins front office. This one from Patrick Starr. Dolphins choked away a Super Bowl. Needed home field advantage. Very depressing statement there, Patrick Starr. And it's not that I disagree with you entirely. Home field advantage would have been great, considering the Dolphins are 19-4 in their last 23 games at Hard Rock Stadium. But I think declaring... And you know what? Maybe the Dolphins do lose to Kansas City. I hope it doesn't happen. Then you can say, I told you so. But for right now, until that game's been played, it's the National Football League. It's any given Sunday. Or in this case, any given Saturday, because that's when the game is. But anybody can beat anybody. The Chiefs have been a shell of themselves on offense. Their defense has been really good. With the weather conditions, it might just be a slugfest with the first team that can muster up 17 points or a low-scoring affair like that to win. And I love the Dolphins' rushing attack. Raheem Mostert publicly said he loves playing in snow football. Devon Achane just set the NFL record for yards per carry, and Jeff Wilson Jr. proven back in this league. I love the Dolphins' rushing attack, and in a game against Kansas City on a frozen field, maybe that's the difference. So I'm not ruling the Dolphins out, and again, you can come back and say, I told you so, if it doesn't go their way, but I don't want to go as far to say that they choked away a chance at the Super Bowl because they didn't get home field advantage. But let me know what you think. Predict it. How far do you think the Dolphins will go in the playoffs? Let me know in the comments. You think they beat the Chiefs, lose first round, And in the NFL, of course, they do reseed, so we're not sure who the Dolphins' opponent would be if they beat the Chiefs. But at the 6th seed, likely they won't play a home playoff game. But hey, Road Warriors, let's see it happen. All right, another one from Joshy _ Do you think because of the cold weather, the Chiefs receivers will drop passes and will get INTs? Very good point from Joshy here, and that's something I failed to mention, that the weather affects both teams. Both teams have to play in it, and you could say, yeah, Kansas City's used to it, but turn on the tape for the Kansas City Chiefs. Their receivers have been downright bad, awful. Like I said, the offense has been a shell of itself. And I go back to, I know it's ancient history at this time, but the very first game of the season, Thursday Night Football, the Chiefs had a couple of costly drops, and one of them that led to a pick six. So, Joshy, I don't hate that take from you. And again, it's not just the first game of the season that we saw the shortcomings of the Chiefs wide receivers. It seems to be a repeated pattern of Kansas City this year. So that's why going back to the last question, I'm not ready to just declare this Dolphins Wild Card weekend a loss at Kansas City, because you got to go out and play the game. And yes, the Chiefs are the defending Super Bowl champions, but it's not like they're this immovable object that the Dolphins are running into or some kind of buzzsaw. They've shown their shortcomings. The Dolphins have shown their shortcomings. The Dolphins offense has been electric at times. The Dolphins defense has been really good at times. So, hey, if I haven't said it in enough ways yet, go out and play the game and let's see what happens. But Joshy, I think that's a good point. All right, want to thank today's sponsor of Dolphins Today, and that's Factor, America's #1 meal delivery service. As we turn the calendar into 2024, it's all about making choices that lead to success, and that's where Factor comes in. When I tell you about Factor, it doesn't get any more convenient than ready-to-eat meals delivered right to your door that take just 2 minutes to heat up and devour, because they are delicious. The loaded bacon shredded chicken, one of my personal favorites. I also love the honey maple barbecue ground beef, but none of them beat the Chipotle pork chop. It is to die for, although the sun-dried tomato chicken might be number 2. But you get the idea. You simply open your door. The meals are there. They're delivered straight to your door. It takes 2 minutes to heat up, and then the cleanup is super easy as well. So it's a win-win-win all the way around, and that's the best kind. So don't wait. Head to factormeals.com/FinSchat50. Use code FinSchat50 to get 50% off. That's code FinSchat50 at factormeals.com/FinSchat50 for that 50% off. And what do I always tell you? We love you and we care about you here on Dolphins Today. So we're putting that link right in the chat. So all you have to do is click on that link. It's also going in the comments and the description of today's video. Factormeals.com/FinSchat50 to get 50% off. Sherry May, what exactly is AVG's injury? Andrew Van Ginkel, season came to an end, unfortunately. It's a good question. I've done some digging on this, and all I'm finding is it's a foot injury with a timetable, because remember, initially he wasn't completely ruled out of the playoffs. They thought maybe he could make a return, but after further tests and an MRI and that sort of thing, it was pretty much declared that he's done for the rest of the playoffs. And other than a foot injury, unfortunately, I failed medical school, so I'm not a doctor. And I didn't go to medical school, but I wouldn't even begin to try to give you the medical, proper terminology. Sometimes, I'm just a football guy. I'm a football guy, and AVG is not available for the rest of the season with a foot injury, but let's hope it's not anything long-term. From Georgia State, role play VC only. I don't know what all that means, but if D-Hop is a free agent next year, do we pick him up? Monday Night Football a couple weeks ago against the Tennessee Titans, he certainly looked like he has a lot of gas left in the tank. In fact, he torched Xavier Howard. There is no other way to put it. But I'm not so sure with the Dolphins' cap space or lack thereof that they should be pursuing outside free agents. They should be more focused on signing some of our own. Connor Williams, Christian Wilkins, Jerome Baker, a couple that come to mind, because they've proven it in a Dolphins uniform. Whereas an investment in a receiver who might have his days numbered on the gridiron, kind of on the back nine of his career. I'm not quite all in on that. That's not to take anything away from Hopkins, though. He's played pretty well this year, but I like our receiving core as it is. Scotty B, if Miami beats the Chiefs, we play the Ravens, or if Steelers win, Pittsburgh comes to Miami. That is correct. That being said, I don't think the Steelers have any chance. No, Steelers are playing Buffalo, so that's not correct. The Steelers are playing Buffalo because Buffalo went ahead and got the number 2 seed. The Ravens have the bye, so the Dolphins, if they win, will likely play the Ravens unless, as you mentioned, the Steelers win. Then they'll. I get what you're saying. All right, so if the Steelers beat the Bills, then they play the Ravens. Yes. If the Dolphins win, then they would play the winner of that. If the Steelers win, then they would play the winner of that Houston-Cleveland game. But in all likelihood, the Dolphins, if they win, would play the Ravens, in my opinion. All right, from Chef Zhu, who could be the X factor in this game on offense and defense? Great question. Chef Zhu, because I love you and I care about you. You're a real one here on Dolphins Today. I'm going to give you the known X factor, and then I'm going to give you an underrated one. So buckle up for 4 right now. So 2 on offense, 2 on defense. My X factor on offense, it starts and ends with Tua Tagovailoa. He needs to be better, and he's shown he can be better. And I know the elements might not be what is the most fruitful for passing the ball, but having control, command, and leading the offense is the quarterback's number 1 job, whatever that looks like. It might not be airing it out, but Tua Tagovailoa. Now, underrated, under the radar, if you will, and maybe it's not totally under the radar, but I do expect Raheem Mostert to play, but I want Achane to show up the way he did in Week 3 against the Denver Broncos. His speed is unmatched, and Raheem Mostert very fast as well. But I think in a game like this with cold weather, if Achane can find a way to break one, points are going to be so hard to come by. And Achane as that unexpected bolt of speed to beat everybody and provide some big plays for this offense could be the difference. Now, on defense, I'm looking at Jaylen Ramsey. He came in with a splash, 3 interceptions in his first 2 games. He was locking down wide receivers, but I think he would tell you he hasn't been really great as of late. And if he can pick off Patrick Mahomes, that just would provide so much for this defense. He's my known X factor. Under the radar, Duke Riley. Going to be playing a lot now that Jerome Baker is out. And Duke Riley played the last couple of games before Jerome Baker came back and was really good against the run, but struggled against the pass. And he's going to have to be better than what he was both on Sunday night against the Bills and in Week 17 against the Ravens. And having solid linebacker play will be so important in stopping this Chiefs defense. I want to know from you who will be an X factor against the Chiefs. Let me know in the comments, and you can take my approach, maybe an under-the-radar one and a known X factor. But either way, I want to hear from you down in the comments. All right. Couple more to get to here on Dolphins Today. Appreciate everybody's questions coming in. This from Dolphin. Where in the world are Tyndall or Smith? Yeah. Dolphin, ditto, brother or sister. You're exactly right. I'm wondering the same. Tyndall, the linebacker, hasn't played. Cam Smith, 2nd-round draft pick, cornerback, not ready. And there was a lot of, and credit to the Dolphins beat writers, they've asked about Cam Smith quite a bit. And Mike McDaniel had that quote a couple weeks ago that was basically like, we don't want him to have scar tissue, aka we don't want him to get burned a bunch and lose confidence. So it just tells me he's not ready to play. And I mean, sometimes it is that simple. These guys just aren't ready to play. And you got to trust the coaching staff that's with these guys 24 hours a day, it seems like, that they know who's going to give them the best opportunity to win, and therefore they're going to put the best 11 on the field, and Tyndall and Cam Smith just haven't been them. And I hope you can hear it in my voice. I agree with you. I've asked the same questions, but just haven't seen them, and the only reasonable explanation I have is that they're just not ready to play. There's better options. All right, from Christine Wilkerson, the question coming in is Mike McDaniel too inexperienced for the playoffs? Fair question. And I'm trying to figure out a way not to hold his lack of experience as a head coach against him, because every head coach has their first, you always, at some point, you have to be a first-time head coach in the playoffs, and Mike McDaniel went through that last year. So as the old cliche goes, let's hope he learns the most from year 1 to year 2. That year 1, that first game last year, albeit without Tua, in Buffalo was a learning experience, and this year, he'll have more experience under his belt, albeit only one game. But I also like the fact that this is a revenge game for the Dolphins since they played the Kansas City Chiefs earlier this season. Remember, that was that game back in Germany. It went down to the wire. They lost that game, left a bitter taste in the Dolphins' mouth, and hopefully Mike McDaniel and company can use that as fuel and motivation. All right, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and remind you, if you like what you see, we've got a video for you every single day, as well as a Dolphins watch party for the game against Kansas City. You will not want to miss that, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. There's nothing like Dolphins Today, largest Dolphins community on YouTube. Don't miss a thing around the Aqua and Orange. Subscribe to the channel, plus it's 100% free. And if you don't love it, you can unsubscribe, even though it would break my heart. But love you guys and appreciate you tuning in to Dolphins Today. Chugs! I love you, man. Got to go.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody for being on today's show. Riepma's out. Everybody have a great day. We'll be live again this Saturday on the channel, so stay tuned. Dolphins Chiefs, we got you here.